What's up, everybody? It's your favorite Orient Express favorite nerd, and today we are looking at the Takara Tomy Masterpiece MPG05 Seizan, perhaps? Not sure. What I am sure about, though, is this is on loan to me from John P., who's been kind enough to let me hold them all, and this is the second to last one, so we should be combining it soon. With that being said, in order to get anywhere close to combination, we're going to have to get to the figure, and in order to get to the figure, we're going to have to get to accessories. So, just like the previous offerings, he comes with a set of tracks, 2 to be specific. They are interlockable, and they also combine with the previous ones, and my hope is to get this guy on the tracks, but I've not been able to get any train on there yet. Is this one any different? No. I'll try 2 more times. Nope. And then last time, no. So, it works as good as the others. You get 3 guns. This is the first one, just sort of the straight plastic. There's some moving bits to this that we'll talk about here as we move through. The sculpt is decent. It kind of seems chuggish to me. I'm just going to move through all 3 and then show you how they all how they work with the piece after this. But, you know, it looks fine. Nothing to write home about. One which is identical to the first one that we looked at, so nothing to talk about there either. When the train splits, you can take the front part of the train, open up this, and they can store inside here. There's a tab on the side that goes into a female connection right below the window. And he can hold both of those just fine with the tab that goes into the palm of his hand. Then you have this one, same sort of deal, more hollow pieces in the sculpt that I'm not crazy about. No paint. Now, the weapon that you only get one, you collapse the handle and you collapse the barrel, and then you can take the train and find this little tab there, connect it with the female port, and now you have that stored underneath. And he can also hold the other gun just fine with the same sort of engineering. The peg and the handle of the gun goes into the palm of his hand. He comes with a sword. We have metallic blue paint on the hilt, and then we have the translucent blue plastic with like the little flecks in it, very similar to what Hot Toys does with their lightsabers. It's fine. It's nothing really to write home about. It's not all that impressive, but it's not awful. The sword can be stored underneath the train tracks, which I think is actually a pretty clever and thoughtful idea. You have to put the tip of it in first, so to speak, but other than that, I mean, that to me is a little bit of extra effort. And he can even hold his sword with the regular robot hand. It has a larger tab on one side for the combiner hand and a smaller one on the other side for the smaller robot hand. And he also comes with a flight stand adapter, like all of them have. It's just a translucent piece of plastic. For train mode, you utilize this piece in the center, this beige piece. It has a tab and then 2 clips on the side. And then that will connect to a stand that they don't provide you. The flight stand adapter can also peg in to the back of his pelvis should you need it to. And let's talk about the train. It looks pretty good. They have all looked good, to be fair, all the trains. The paint is very sharp, stellar in fact. It has this like base plastic beige, but then we have the burgundy kind of stripes, or like very tight line work, tight silver line work around the windows. Pad printing paint there on the side. Translucent plastic windows makes you see all the guts. That's been a consistent complaint of mine. There's this bit here that has a little symbol on it with the swan. This is interchangeable with Autobot symbols and a flat blue piece. I didn't mention it in the accessories because, I don't know, just felt like I could cover it here, but that's there. Nice silver accents, metallic reds are in there. They really do a great job with the trains. Tight silver line work around the door frame, around some of the windows. The back looks good. Underneath is fairly clean. I don't have any real complaints about the train. There it is with Tiger Tracks. And as I was messing with the transformation of this, I realized this is pretty similar to another one that we've looked at. So, going to be somewhat of a refresher. Just spin this here to the side, this piece, which will let you disconnect these 2 pieces, and you can set the short piece to the side. This piece, we have 2 more of those sections that instead of spinning sideways, we're going to flip them over. And then that will give us access, not accents, to this section here, which we want to release. There we go. Pull out to the side, collapse the gray piece, and then sit it down. So one more again. There we go. Out to the side, collapse the gray piece, sit it down to the side, and then we can split the legs. For the legs, get the wheels out of your way, which will allow you to get access to this piece that spins out. Once that is done, you can extend the leg, and there's the whole angle of this. You see there's like a female there, there's a male peg there. It has to kind of sit in to that, and then this also pegs in to the other piece over here, right, with that. And it's one of those things where it doesn't really lock until it locks, so it can be a little unwieldy. Then you can just collapse the wheels back down. You have the feet, and you have to spin this piece out so that you can pull the foot down, and then you can rotate that back. What's going on here? This whole section here has to come up, and then this has to fit in that little kind of groove there. Same on this side. Move. God, what's wrong with my move? Pull the wheels out. Rotate the knee up. Make sure that you do it at both joints. Make sure that this piece comes back and fits into the proper indentation of the calf, which I'm having a heck of a time with. And that this whole wall here will also peg back into the opposite side of the train, like the side panel there. And you can push the wheels back, bring down the, rotate this. Oh, there's another thing that has to happen here, isn't there? Rotate this piece in, then your foot down, and then this whole section comes back up and fits back in to there. Untab these pieces here, and then slide that whole piece down on both sides. And then you can split the entire upper section. Oh no, bring this up and then split it. All right. Is it just ornery? Let's see if I can get it. Let me check that for a minute. Yeah, I just needed to put some elbow grease into it, but there it is. So then you want to rotate these out to the sides, right? Straighten out the arms. The roofs of the train flip on top. Sorry if you can't see any of that. The roofs of the train flip on top, and then the shoulder flips up as well at the base of the shoulder, and then the arms come back down by the side. All right, then we can flip in these pieces here that we flipped out, and we need to clean this all up. So this comes up, you can flatten that. That comes back down, and then the top piece rotates up, and then this piece rotates forward. Then you can rotate at the bicep, open up the forearm, flip the hand out, close the forearm. We're going to do the same on this side. Oh man, I don't know. Open up here, collapse that, bring this down, flip this forward, and then flip that part forward. Rotate at the bicep, open up the forearm, flip the hand out. And then your last step is to slide the head forward and slide the chest out. Now let's do the backpack. And remember, this is where the guns are stored. So open that up and then open them up completely. Then take your wheels. They slide up on a slider, rotate around to the inside, and then compress down. Slide up on a slider, around to the inside, compress down. I don't know if we close those or not. You can take this piece out and just set it to the side for now. This whole section comes up, grabs the front of the train there, and then wraps around and sits on the back. And then, and then this piece here, you need to rotate outward. And then you can take this and connect it back into the side. And I think that's it. I'm going to double check on these wings. They might need to be closed. And then, of course, you just connect them here at the base of the back of the neck. And that's it. You can clean it up and stuff. But speaking of cleaning it up, I'll clean it up and we'll come back and take a look at them. And we'll get in tight on the head sculpt for Dennis. So the silver paint is on there. And there's also a gunmetal paint on the crest. The sculpt is decent enough. And then the black is painted in a gloss. It looks good. The head is on a ball peg. You get up to there, down to there. Swivel side to side. It's fine. You know, it's a little fiddly. This whole bot is a little fiddly. They've all been a little fiddly. This one's no exception. Let's go ahead and talk about the torso. Back out of taste. Decent enough sculpt work. Only paint we get is these chest plates and then the Autobot symbol there. Waist swivel. And pretty impressive ab crunch, if I do say so myself. And you can even get a little bit of a reverse ab crunch. Let's just set this to the side. Which is nice also. Get these back in place. All right. Now, unfortunately, it only gets more fiddly from here. Shoulders or arms. So the only paint that we get is the paint that comes with the train. And to be fair, it's nice and still carries over a bit. The shoulders are extremely articulated. So if you get this stuff out of the way, you can get it way past 90 degrees. There's a butterfly joint in there. And then, of course, there's the swivel around, but the tolerance is a little tight where it's supposed to swivel, so it ends up manipulating the whole joint, which is also a bit of a bummer. There is a bicep swivel. There is a single hinged elbow that gets you past 90 degrees. There's a wrist swivel, and there are fingers on a base pin knuckle. Same for the other side. They're also elevator or typewriter fingers. All right, moving on down. We have hips. They are universals. We have hip skirts. That'll get up and out of the way. Even the back. So we'll look at the whole figure. We get soft ratchets forward and back for pretty much the full Monty. I say we give it to him. And just fiddly, man. Just fiddly. And then out to the side to there. So full Van Damme as well. Close these up. Thigh swivel at the cut joint for the hips, which is nice. Single hinged knee that gets you less than 90 degrees, so that's not great. Ankles, no ankle tilt up. You do get an ankle tilt down, and you do get a rocker. Deco-wise, we have the train detailings, and that's really it, honestly. And there he is from the back, you know, without the backpack on. It's not the most impressive thing in the world, I'm going to be honest with you. Size comparison-wise, there he is with Masterpiece Carbot, so, you know, about the same size for what that's worth. That size swipe still looks good to me, but neither here nor there. All right, so let's do a couple things that are easy. Collapse the chest. They probably have already collapsed for you. Slide the head back. That may have already been done as well. Open up the forearms, collapse the hands, fold them in, collapse the forearms, turn them 90 degrees inward just so you don't forget. All right, 90 degrees inward. And then on the back here, we're gonna open up our black panels again. We're gonna pull out this whole head hand assembly, this whole pan-pam situation we got going on here. Make sure that the shoulders are out of the way. Spin it 180, collapse it back in, and then just streamline the profile a bit. And you can collapse these back, I believe. Now we need to pretty much reverse transform these shoulders. So you're gonna rotate at this base hinge here, and then extend your windows, and then rotate the gray piece back over, and then you can bring that piece up, and then you're gonna rotate up, down, and all of this is going to collapse easy from there inside, right? And we're gonna do that one more. So we're gonna rotate on this base shoulder hinge forward, extend your window here, and then rotate that forward, flatten this, bring this back. All of this comes back around and sits inside here. And then you can connect all of this. And remember, these were a little ornery for me, so I might do them off camera. But you can also connect your forearms. And then just, the last thing you want to do is collapse it. Once again, try to straighten the profile out the best you can. And then this flips up at the bottom of the wrist. And then the legs are pretty easy. You just flip these pieces out. This one I forgot to do when we were going through robot mode anyway, but if otherwise, flip it out. And then this piece, you just want to straighten down inside there, I think. And maybe collapse, let's see. Yeah, I screwed that up. But I'll show you the right way to do it on this one. So you open this up, just reverse, you know what I mean? And then close that up. And then we combine, and my other leg has come undone. Combine the legs together. And take your wheels back here. Rotate them up and over. And then connect those as well. Bend at the knee. And it might be a good idea to just keep the wheels back in robot mode anyway. It'll be a bit unsightly, but you'll get the full bend of the knee. And then flip these pieces up, which are going to be your connector points. And yeah, I mean, I think that's it. All that's left is this. Disconnect your little smokestack there and bring this piece up, collapse the front end of it, collapse this robot connector, extend your combiner connector, and then, oh, this piece flips down, and then collapse all of this. Then straighten these flaps here on the side. This comes back around, and these pieces come, and these tabs will tab into the side on both. And the last thing that you have is to have this gun connect, which goes into these slots here on the inside. And that's that. And you know, all this stuff, it's a bit soon to tell, you know what I mean? Like, but at least you can see the modes, and I mean, at least they are cohesive, I guess. Solidity and all that kind of stuff we'll talk about when the time comes, but there they are. Final thoughts wise, we'll start with the negatives. Really limited knee articulation, no ankle tilt up, relatively limited elbow articulation, just slightly beyond 90 degrees. Fingers are on a base pin knuckle and they're typewriter fingers. Limited paint outside of the train representation. You pretty much just get the head sculpt paint and then the chest plates. But none of that is anywhere near my biggest criticisms of this piece, which is it's just finicky. It's finicky, it's fiddly, it's like rickety, you know, and a lot of them have been, if not all of them. My memory's not the best, but this one follows suit. It just feels more like a mainline figure than it does like a masterpiece. Also, one thing I didn't mention is those inconsistent soft ratchets in the hips are not good, and they should have been sorted out. But that's about all I got for negatives, honestly. It mostly has to do with the robot version. Moving on to the positives, the train mode is still fantastic, still looks great, still looks beautiful, very, very photogenic as well. And the transformation is incredibly smooth and relatively effortless. It's very, very polished. You know, it's obviously done by professionals and it shows. There are some articulation beats that do work well, the waist in particular, but the shoulders in addition to that. And I mean, I don't know, the main takeaway, I guess, ultimately at the end of this is the trains look great and the transformation process between all three modes is at the very least interesting, if not always effective. So recommendation wise, we're gonna wait and see how this all shakes out. And we're only one bot away. Thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. Until next time, take care.